Yeah, well, hello and welcome. Now, as it's almost stopped raining, I thought it was a good opportunity to swap the Dodge and the Morris around in the garage. And while this is outside and it's almost dry, I thought I'd have just a quick walk around and just see what it is that I've ended up buying. Yeah, it's just decided to rain, so I'll try and keep this snappy, which is all very helpful. But just to recap, this came from a distant corner of the country a week or so back, and it's a 1937 Morris 8 Series 1, one of the last of the Series 1s before they switched to the painted grille surround and also the solid disc wheels, which the slightly later cars had. It's been off the road for quite a long time. I believe it was fired up at the beginning of the year, give or take, but I've not had it running yet or seen it running. So there's no doubt some little investigations to be done there and a few little preparation jobs before I even think about firing it up. But overall, it's a very sound little car, and that's one of the reasons I bought it, because I didn't want a rot box. So I've got one or two of those already. So just to have a quick look round. I've made a start on cleaning it up, but I haven't gone too berserk, and the idea is to try and preserve its oldie worldy looks. So this may polish up a bit, but I'm not going to go too mad, go too berserk. It's still registered on its original registration, which is nice. And it's things like this where the seams are, where the wings bolt on, and this valance joins here and at the bottom of the body here, it's all pretty good. There's tiny little bits, but for the age of car it's nothing really. Even the roof is good. They did do a sliding head version with the opening sunroof, but this isn't one of those, which I don't mind, because to me it's just one less thing to leak. So that's all good. And like I say, most of the paintwork is original. There was an old repair on the corner of the wing here, which I've just tidied up a little bit just to tone it down without hiding it, because I don't mind oldie worldy repairs, because that's what these things received when they were in use, sort of when they were a few years old, like in the sort of 1950s, 1960s. If they were still on the road, it was a case of just keeping them going as best you can. Let's just have a quick look under here. The mighty 918cc side valve engine. Now it looks like it's been a bit damp in there. I think it did spend a little time outside earlier in the year, and it has all the symptoms of getting damp. A bit of surface corrosion and not really drying out properly. I mean, it's still damp in there even now. So that'll all clean up, and I'll certainly clean it all up before I think of taking the plugs out, so that nothing unpleasant drops into the cylinders. But the important things, it's all pretty good and solid, where it could easily be rotten as a pear. So that's all good. Like I said, the wings are pretty good. It's had a bit of a repair here, but not to worry. Chrome radiator surround is pretty acceptable. I gave this a little bit of a clean up and an oily rag. This was an optional extra. Let's just have a quick look under here. Assuming I can open it single-handed. Yep, there we go. And it looks, like I say, a garage where it was brought in just to sort of try and get it running earlier in the year. So this fuel pump looks like a new one, and the carburetor looks like someone's been doing something with it, even though the damper appears to be sticking inside. So we'll have to have a look at that and see what's what, but I can't imagine it'll take too much to get it running again. There's a 6-volt battery that came with it. Let's have a quick look in here. Another reason I particularly like this car, this particular one, is because it's very sound in all these places where you'd often expect the sills to rot away. This one's good. The hinge pillar, the B post, is nice and solid all the way up as well. And the door, now that I've oiled it, it just shuts properly. You can still see the remains of the old coach line as well, which is nice. So that's all good. I'll just have a quick look inside. I've not looked under these seat covers yet. These look very 1950s. There's a new Dizzy cap. Yes, the seat covers look 50s. The original carpets are there. They're a bit grimy and grubby, but all I've done is move a load of spare parts that were stored in there, and I haven't begun to do anything too serious with that yet. Let's just have a quick look inside the beast and see what things we can find. The Morris 8, for a fairly cheap car of its day, is actually quite well equipped on the dials front. Beneath this optional posy holder, Bakelite, we've got a Eureka oil pressure gauge, a Smith's speedometer, orange lined 30, and an ammeter, obviously the Lucas headlamp switch, and the charging, high and low, and a Smith's petrol gauge. And to make Ford owners weep, Morris 8 owners, had an electric windscreen wiper and hydraulic brakes, which just shows that Morris were slightly ahead of the game in many respects when it came to sort of equipping their smallest cars. This example, it was taken on at least one continental holiday back in the 1950s, so you can just imagine pootling along through France and Germany, etc. at a very sedate pace. And I think that's probably what this little flag here is all about. I imagine they put that in the window, just a nice little survivor, so that'll definitely be staying. We've got a couple of optional little mirrors in the top corners as well, in addition to the factory mirror. There's a few odds and ends in here. I've got one of the old parking lights that clips on the top of the driver's door window. I've got a few of these, but unlike all the other ones, this one's made of brass, so it predates the other ones that I've got, so this will be staying with it. It's got one of the old type connectors. Well, I've not found out yet where it actually plug into. I assume there's a socket hidden away somewhere. There's another few odds and ends kicking around in here. Claudette Limited, made in England. And that looks like a spare set of points for the SU electric fuel pump, unless I'm much mistaken. And there's a set of Lucas ignition points there, possibly even for this car. And then what have we got over the other side? We've got an Altoids tin, peppermint medicinal lozenges, they aid digestion. But inside, if I can do this single-handedly, which I probably can't, there's a little sort of touring kit, I imagine. We've got a spare carburettor needle in the old SU, because it's an SU carburettor on the Morris 8, so we've got a needle or two in there. Got some bulbs, got some Schrader tyre valve cores. If you've ever wondered how to fit them, see one of my earlier videos. Yeah, bulbs, valve caps, fuses, and so on. So that's probably been with the car most of its life, certainly with the previous owner, and he bought it in 1949 using his demob money apparently, so this has been in one family's ownership for over 70 years. So again, it was nice just to sort of be able to speak to his relatives and find out a bit more about the car. Its nickname was George, which, even though I'm not usually into naming cars, as one of my grandparents was called George, I think it'll have to stick. There's some bits and pieces on the floor here. Got some nice old carburetors, spark plugs. I've got a Champion here, an L10, which will be a type well known to Ford side valve enthusiasts. And there's another one here with what looks like a Swiss flag, the Marshall Corindon plug. I've not heard that one before. I've got another very early Champion there. That's a J8. Oh, that's an AC. And in here, this is an old military box. Let's see if we can focus on that. Ammeter. So there's what have we got here? 1 ammeter RF, 0 to 5 amperes. That's dated 1942. And inside, oops, there are lots more spark plugs, which is quite interesting. KLG, one of the well-known makes before the war. Another KLG there. Got an AC, a much earlier AC. Another L10. KLG again. That was quite nice. We've also got Lodge plugs. Is that a Lodge? Oh no, it's a Syntox. Oh yeah, Lodge, there we go. Lodge. And also some of these small original cardboard protectors I'm not sure if this is focusing or not. There we go. And that would have gone on there originally to protect the plugs while they were in the shop. So there's all those. I think my lad's got his eye on those for his workshop display, but we'll have to see about that. And there's just a few other odds and ends in there which aren't too exciting. And we've got the original starting handle over here and a tyre inflator, which I think it's inflating days are well and truly behind it, but nevertheless it's great to have it, keep it with the car. And like I say, it's quite reasonable in here. Headlining's still okay, and again, just as a sign that Morris were a little bit ahead of the game when it came to the small cars, you had wind down rear side windows in a 2-door car. I'm not sure that every car in this particular class, the 8 and the 7 horsepower class, came thus equipped, so that's quite cool. Door trims need a clean, but they'll survive. Like I say, all these pillars are quite nice, so we'll just have a quick look around the other side. There's the original badges. It's actually stopped raining almost. Good heavens. Like I say, the paintwork, it's sort of got like a dull glow to it. It's a bit speckly on the doors, but we can improve that slightly without... What I like is the fact that in places the paint is worn through, which I just think it gives it a nice sort of aged feel to it, which is exactly what I like. Yep, this is the driver's side. Clamber in. You can see the dashboard from over there. Got the opening windscreen if you desire some air conditioning. And obviously we've got the main switches here, the turn signals, the semaphores are there. I'm not quite sure what that one does. I'm sure someone will tell me. And we've got the hooter on the end there. But there's no battery connected, so I'm not going to get much noise out of it. But yeah, this is just I just thought I'd take the opportunity to have a quick walk around it while I've got it outside. And again, the doors shut quite nicely. And they're not dropping, because one of the things you want to watch on any old car is that it's not rotting away where the hinges mount on the hinge pillar. So these are all the areas, and again, the sills look pretty good. I've had a quick look underneath, it doesn't look too bad. There's a couple of areas that want a little bit of metal, but nothing too urgent. On the exterior bodywork, the only real rust through is on the back edge of the wing here, but I think if we just slop a load of oil over it and it doesn't get too damp too often, it won't be anything that I'll have to worry about for some time to come, so that's not really an issue. Like I say, the idea is to run this as an oily rag pre-war classic car, and you know, some people would fully strip it and restore it, repaint it, redo all the interior, and that's great. You know, there's so many different ways you can approach a car like this, but I think because it is so original, and I've got photos of it when the previous owner first bought it in 1949, I think it would be nice just to sort of have it wearing its age on its sleeve and just showing how it's evolved to this point in time after however many years. How many years is it? 80 odd years. So that's the aim of the game, I think, just to keep it in an oily rag state, because the important bits where it like bolts on here is all good and sound. You can really swing on these wings and they're not going to go anywhere. The wheels are a bit scruffy, but I think if I clean those up it'll be okay. But I just love the shape of these and the Model Y. I just think are very stylish little cars for the era. And I've got a pre-war mine, so this is a good sort of a companion to it. EPK 935 is the original number on it still, which is good. I'll just close that. That's how they should shut. So there we have it, the Morris 8 Series 1. There will be future video updates as and when I get it running, which hopefully will be in the next week or so. And like I say, I've done a few little cosmetic tidy-ups here and there on it. I'm not going to go too berserk on that at the moment. I've just cleaned up some areas, because this was all red rusty. So I've sort of brought that back up a little bit more to a more acceptable look that matches the rest of the car. Because if I repainted it all, it would just stand out too much. So it's difficult. It's a difficult balancing act when you're sort of working on an oily rag car, is how far do you go? Because if you start suddenly polishing something up too much, then the rest of the car looks too different, whereas you want it to try and be a fairly uniform look over the entire car. So that's what I'm aiming to do. And got some old polish here, which I think has been introduced in a previous video. That's from 1952. I found that in the back of an old lorry. It was in a scrapyard, so I'll be using a bit of that because it's not too shiny. So where some polishes bring up the shine too much, that one just offers a bit of a shine, but not a silly amount. So there we go. Final quick look inside. I think I'd better swap them around and put them away again before it starts raining. So I just hope that was an interesting little walk around of a pre-war classic car, a little Morris 8, and hopefully we'll see it running before not too long. So thanks for watching. Well, she's back inside again now, so the weather can do its worst.